Thank you all very much. This will be somewhat of an informal meeting, and I want to congratulate Mick Mulvaney, who's been confirmed. Finally, we waited a long time by the Senate, and he's going to be an absolutely great director. Total confidence in Mick, known him for a long time. He loves those budgets. Unfortunately, the budget that we're essentially inheriting, is a mess. The finances of our country are a mess, but we're going to clean them up. Things that we've been doing, including negotiating deals that have already been negotiating, so you call it renegotiating, on airplanes and lots of other things, military items. We'll end up either getting many more planes free, or we're going to save a lot of money, but we've already saved a lot. Billions and billions of dollars have been saved. We have enormous work to do as the national debt doubled over the last 8 years. Our debt has doubled over a short period of time. I want the American people to know that our budget will reflect their priorities. We'll be directing all of our departments and agencies to protect every last American and every last tax dollar. No more wasted money. We're going to be spending the money in a very, very careful manner. Our moral duty to the taxpayer requires us to make our government leaner and more accountable. We must do a lot more with less. And we must stop the improper payments, end the abuses, negotiate better prices, and look for every last dollar of saving. We've already imposed hiring freezes on non-essential government workers, and part of our commitment is to continue to do that for the American taxpayer. We have appointed a cabinet that knows how to manage dollars wisely. I've known many of the folks for a long time. They've been tremendous winners, whether it's Steve or Gary or another Steve right here. And that's why I will direct them to manage the country's dollars and your dollars very wisely. We won't let your money be wasted anymore. We're going to run government smoothly, efficiently, and on behalf of the very hard-working taxpayers, something that the taxpayers haven't seen in a long time. I will be holding everybody accountable for that, and I have no doubt that this group, in particular this group, will do a fantastic job. I want to congratulate Steve Mnuchin as our new Secretary of the Treasury. He's going to be outstanding. Tremendous track record. He has a tremendous track record. I have great confidence in him. So we're going to continue on, and we're going to take this budget, which is, in all fairness, I've only been here for 4 weeks, so I can't take too much of the blame for what's happened. But it is absolutely out of control, and we're going to do things that are going to be tremendous over the years. We have to take care of our military. I have no choice. We have to take care of our military. It needs work. It's very depleted, and we have to take care of a lot of other things. Healthcare is moving along nicely. It's being put into final forms. As you know, before we do the tax, which is actually very well finalized, but we can't submit it until the healthcare, statutorily or otherwise. So we're doing the healthcare, again, moving along very well. Sometime during the month of March, maybe mid to early March, we'll be submitting something that I think people will be very impressed by. And with that, we're going to have a little meeting, and I think the press knows pretty much all of the people at the table. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wagner and Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer are here. Give them both a big round of applause. Thank you. It's a privilege to have you here. I also want to thank all the small business owners who are with us today, including our host, Doug Fabick, and the Fabick family. 100 years in business here in this area. I enjoyed our discussion earlier today, and I appreciate your candid feedback, Doug, and the candid feedback that we got from other business leaders and job creators all across this region. And on that note, let me say thank you to all the great employees here at Fabick Cat for coming out today. Hardworking men and women, you're the ones that make companies like this grow. You are the strength in the American economy, and you're going to lead an American economy. As President Trump has said so many times, it was too long that we had forgotten men and women in this country. Well, the forgotten men and women, the men and women who carry this economy on their shoulders every day, are forgotten no more. And on behalf of President Trump, I thank all the hard-working men and women of Fabic Cat who are here today. Thanks for doing a great job. Before we get started, I'd like to address something that happened here in St. Louis over the weekend. On Monday morning, America awoke to discover that nearly 200 tombstones were toppled in a nearby Jewish graveyard. Speaking just yesterday, President Trump called this a horrible and painful act, and so it was. That, along with other recent threats to Jewish community centers around the country, he declared it all a sad reminder of the work that still must be done to root out hate and prejudice and evil. We condemn this vile act of vandalism and those who perpetrate it in the strongest possible terms. Let me say it's been inspiring to people all across this country to see the way the people of Missouri have rallied around the Jewish community with compassion and support. You have inspired this nation with your kindness and your care. You know, it just so happens 3 days ago, my wife and my daughter were overseas. We saw firsthand what happens when hatred runs rampant in a society. We were near Munich, Germany, where we visited the very first Nazi concentration camp ever to be constructed, a place called Dachau. We were accompanied by a survivor of Dachau, a 93-year-old man named Abba Noir, who told me he had arrived there as a 17-year-old boy. He described, as we walked through that memorial, the hellish life he endured, toiling away as a slave while those around him were taken away one by one, never to return. By the grace of God, he survived, and now he tells his story so that the world will never forget. But before he left, he spoke words that touched my heart, and I'll always carry with me throughout my life. And they resonate with this moment today. He spoke of that hellish existence in the waning days of the war, and then he looked up at me with a smile, and he said, "Then the Americans came."
Yeah.
Spoke of the kindness of those American soldiers who liberated that camp. And he pointed a finger at me and told me, when you go back, you thank every one of those soldiers for what they did, for me and for my people and for my country. Would you join me in a round of applause for every man and woman here who's worn the uniform of the United States Army? The American soldier fought to end the hatred and violence against the Jewish people across Europe then. And as President Trump said yesterday, America will always, in his words, fight bigotry, intolerance, and hatred in all its ugly forms wherever it will arise. That's the American way. Thank you for letting me share that from my heart. But let me get on to what I came here to talk to you about. It is great to be back in Missouri. I was here last September for a rally, and it was absolutely electric. 2 months later, the Show Me State showed America what it was made of when you helped make Donald Trump the 45th President of the United States of America. Thank you, Missouri. President and I will always be grateful for what you did for us and what you did for this country. America's small businesses were actually some of our biggest supporters. Small business owners across the land saw in this businessman who would become president someone who had the ideas and the energy and the vision to make America great again. Hardworking Americans who make small businesses successful, folks like everyone here today, rallied behind this cause, and we brought real change to our nation's capital. You know, Favorite Cat is a true American success story. As I mentioned before, a family-owned business, owned and operated since its founding back in 1970. Today, thanks to all of you, Favorite Cat has 1,100 employees at 37 locations throughout the Midwest. So many people rely on what you do. And frankly, Doug, what you and the family has done here for 100 years has made Missouri great, and it's going to be a part of making America great again. For all the small business owners who are here today, just know that President Trump is your biggest fan. I'll make you a promise. President Trump is the best friend America's small businesses will ever have. He asked me to be here today to tell you how much he appreciates what you do for the country. Make no mistake about it. America finally has a president who's going to support and fight for you every single day. You know, both of us know that small businesses are the engine of our economy. They're the beating heart that creates jobs and prosperity and growth. You know, I grew up in a small business and in a small town, a family-owned business in Columbus, Indiana. I went to work at one of my dad's gas stations when I was only 14 years of age. I was a gas station attendant. For those of you under 30, just imagine. Just imagine if when you pulled into a gas station, somebody ran out with their name on their shirt, pumped your gas, washed your windows, checked your tires, and didn't charge you any more money for it. That's what I did for a living, and I was proud to do it. Proud to be a part of a family business. Proud to be a part of Small Business America. As the world knows, the president grew up in a family business too. We both, I can tell you, know the sacrifices that are required to make a family small business work. The long hours, the hard work. And we both know this simple fact. When small business is strong, America is strong, and the American economy thrives. That's why President Trump wants to help you become stronger than ever before. What he said on the campaign trail about strengthening small business is what we're already doing in the White House. On day one, we went right to work on a plan to cut taxes for working families, small businesses, and family farms. He signed legislation to roll back reams of red tape and regulation issued under the Obama administration. He instructed every agency and department in Washington, D.C. also to identify 2 regulations to get rid of before they issue another ream of red tape. We're rolling back taxes and we're rolling back red tape already in Washington, D.C. Thanks to you. The President also knows that the rule of law is the heart of a growing free market economy, and he's taken decisive action to end illegal immigration, strengthen our borders, and uphold the immigration laws of America. I'm glad to say businesses are already reacting to President Trump's Buy American, Hire American vision with optimism, investment, and a belief in our country again. Have you noticed it? I mean, from GM to U.S. Steel to IBM to so many other companies, they're already announcing their intention to keep jobs here, to create new ones, tens of thousands of them. As Ford Motor Company's chief executive put it, even before the president took his oath of office, their investments are a, quote, vote of confidence in the agenda of President Donald Trump. So let's talk about that agenda. Let me say, if you take nothing else from what I tell you today, know this. The nightmare of Obamacare is about to end. Despite the best efforts of liberal activists at many town halls around the country, the American people know the truth. Obamacare has failed, and Obamacare must go. This failed old law is crippling the American economy and crushing the American worker. We all know the broken promises of Obamacare. There are almost too many to count. They told you the cost of insurance would go down. They told you if you like your doctor, you can keep them. They told you your health plan, you could keep that too. Well, none of it was true. Americans are now paying $3,000 more a year for health insurance on average. Last year alone, premiums skyrocketed by a stunning 25%, and millions of Americans have lost their plans and their doctors since the outset of the Affordable Care Act. Higher costs, fewer choices, worse care. That's Obamacare, and that's got to end. Small businesses like those represented here today know exactly what I'm talking about. The last few years, it's been harder to get ahead. Obamacare has only made it harder still, if not impossible in some cases. One of the business leaders I just talked to talked about the weight of Obamacare on his nearly 700 employees and the difficulty that it's placed on them and on their families. Obamacare is a job killer, and everybody in America knows it. We're about to change all that. We're going to repeal Obamacare once and for all, get rid of its mandates and its taxes and its intrusion on your lives and on your businesses. And best of all, at the same time we repeal Obamacare, Obamacare is going to be replaced with something that actually works, something that brings freedom and individual responsibility back to American health care. Now, President Trump and I want every American to have access to quality and affordable health insurance, which is why we're designing a better law, a market-driven law that reforms and improves how health care is provided in this country. We're working right now with leaders in Congress to lower the cost of health insurance by giving Americans the freedom to purchase health insurance across state lines the way you purchase life insurance and the way you purchase car insurance. We're working with Congress to make sure that Americans with pre-existing conditions have health insurance and don't have any fear of losing that health insurance. And we're working with Congress to give states the flexibility. Governor Greitens, where'd you go? We're working with Congress to make sure we give states and governors like your great governor the flexibility they need to care for the least fortunate and their health care needs the way we'll work in Missouri and the way that we'll work in each individual state. Despite the scare tactics from the liberal left, the President and I are committed, make it clear here, we're committed to an orderly transition to a better health care system in America. One that lowers the cost of health insurance, unleashes innovation, and puts the American people first. I mean, all of those concepts, innovation, putting people first, those are all the same principles that got Faber-Cat to 100 years. And it's what actually works in American business, and we truly do believe those free market principles, individual responsibility and consumer choice can make the best healthcare system in America married to the best health insurance system in America as well. We're taking work for America's business and work in American healthcare. But our agenda doesn't just stop there. I'll guarantee there isn't anyone here who can make sense of America's tax code, including me. There's an old joke that says the tax code's about 10 times the size of the Bible, but with none of the good news. It's a good line, but it's hardly a laughing matter. Yeah. Truth is, our country's tax system these days penalizes success. It makes it far too hard for hardworking people and small businesses to achieve the American dream. It takes too much money out of your pockets. It stifles job growth, wage growth, economic growth, and every other type of growth you need to get ahead. And rest assured, when President Trump and I get done, before we get to this summertime, we're going to cut taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms, and get this economy moving. We want you to keep more of your hard-earned money, plain and simple. You know how to spend your paycheck better than any politician in Washington, D.C. ever could. By the same token, you also know how to run your businesses and your own lives better than any bureaucrat. That's why, as I mentioned before, we're going to keep on working together, and President Trump and I are going to keep rolling back senseless regulations that are strangling businesses and stifling our country's potential. Everyone here knows the tremendous burden of red tape and regulation. Complying with these monstrous costs Costs time and money to businesses. It would be better stand hiring more good people and growing businesses and improving worker benefits. Our administration is working with Congress to repeal these job-killing big government regulations issued in the last administration in particular. We're going to rein in unelected bureaucrats so they can't cripple the economy from the comfort of their taxpayer-funded desks in Washington, D.C. Before I close, if you haven't noticed it yet, let me remind you that we actually all elected a builder as the 45th President of the United States. And under President Donald Trump, we're going to rebuild America. President Trump has called attention to our nation's crumbling infrastructure, not like no contemporary person in public life. Rest assured, we're going to work with the Congress to make historic investments in infrastructure so that we have the best roads, the best bridges, the best highways, and the best airports in the best nation on earth. We invest in infrastructure is a dollar we invest in America's future and in our prosperity. And when we do that, let's be clear, we're going to rebuild America, and we're going to hire American, and we're going to buy American when we rebuild this country. We're going to rebuild America with American workers and American tools. Pleased to announce President Trump's already taken action in this regard. Some of you may notice just last month, after years of senseless delays, President Trump authorized the construction of the Keystone Pipeline and the Dakota Pipeline for our energy future and to create American power. That's what it means to rebuild our infrastructure and put America back to work. So, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. Our economy is going to grow faster than ever before, faster than you can imagine. We're already hearing from those who oppose these policies, though. People are out there opposing tax cuts, opposing slashing outdated regulations, opposing repealing Obamacare. And most of all, they seem to want to oppose the president's effort to give power back to the American people. We're hearing from these people every day, and the national media is more than willing to give them a platform each and every day. So all I ask of all of you here in Missouri is let America hear from you. In the days ahead, I promise you, President Trump and I are going to work with the Congress, and we're going to drive forward our best efforts to turn this country around, create good-paying jobs at home, and a safer and more prosperous America. But America needs to hear from small business, from hardworking Americans who work in small business. The people who know we can do better, the people who know we can be more prosperous, and know we can get this economy working for every American again. So let your voice be heard. Talk to a neighbor over a backyard fence. Stop somebody at the grocery store. Get online on Facebook, send an email to a friend. But just send them a note and say, I ran into Mike the other day. They're doing exactly what they said they were going to do, and I believe it works. And we need to support this president and this administration. That's what you got to say. So thanks for coming out on this sunny day in February. As my friend and our president likes to say, with boundless faith in the American people and faith in God. Amen.